Hey everyone, Theo here. Today I'm reviewing the LG Gram Style 16 from the perspective of a visual content creator. First of all, big thanks to LG Singapore for providing this loaner review unit for this review. And in this video, I just want to present to you my findings so that you can decide whether or not this is worth the money. And this is quite pricey. Shown on the screen right now are the retail prices for the different LG Gram models in Singapore. I have also added the prices in USD for those models that I was able to find online. The specifications for this review unit are listed by the site, and the retail price for this is 3,099 Singapore dollars, and that's around slightly more than 2,000 US dollars if I convert the currency directly. So this year in 2023, LG actually added several new models to the LG Gram family. More specifically, they added the LG Gram 15, Ultra Slim or Super Slim. The name will vary depending on which country you are in. And they have also added the LG Gram Style. So right now they have the LG Gram Style, LG Gram Ultra Slim or LG Gram Super Slim, the usual LG Gram which is in black color, and the LG Gram 2-in-1 which supports the stylus. The LG Gram models shown earlier do not come with the discrete graphics card, and there are models with the discrete graphics card, the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3050, and here in Singapore we don't sell the models with this graphics card. I'm actually quite familiar with the LG Gram because I reviewed the model from 2021, 2022, and this year they sent over the LG Gram Style 16 2023. The main differences between the various LG Gram models is, I would say, the display resolution. The 16 and 17-inch model use QHD Plus resolution. The 14 and 15-inch use Full HD or Full HD Plus resolution displays. More specifically, the 15-inch uses a display with 1920 by 1080 resolution, so that's a 16:9 aspect ratio display. If you're someone like me who prefers 16:10 displays, go for the 14, 16 or 17-inch laptops. Between the 16 and 17-inch models, the 16-inch model uses a 3-column design for the number pad, and this will take some time to get used to. The 17-inch model uses the usual 4-column number pad. The LG Gram Style is only available with either a 14 or 16-inch display, and the differences between the LG Gram Style versus the usual LG Gram, the black LG Gram, are the LG Gram Style uses an OLED display. This OLED display is a bit different compared to OLED displays you can find on other laptops because this display has anti-reflective coating and anti-glare, and anti-reflective coating is quite effective. The resolution is 3200 by 2000, so this is high resolution compared to QHD+. This display has 100% DCI-P3 coverage, so this is a relatively color accurate display and is definitely good enough for graphic design work. The viewing angles are terrific. There is minimal to almost no color shift or drop in brightness when you view the display from extreme angles. There are some missing features compared to the usual LG Gram. So here it's missing the full-size HDMI port. There are only 2 Thunderbolt 4 port, and this is the 3.5mm audio jack. And on the other side, they removed 1 USB-A port, leaving behind just this single USB-A port, and that's the micro SD card slot. The LG Gram Style 16 is more expensive compared to the usual LG Gram 16 because the company is marketing this as a more beautiful laptop compared to the black LG Gram, and this is indeed more beautiful with this pearlescent glass cover, and the colors will change depending on the lighting situation. And they have this same design aesthetic here on the touchpad and palm rest area. It may not be obvious, but this is the touchpad area, and this is a haptic touchpad, unlike the physical touchpad on the usual LG gram where you can actually press down. This one will give you the haptic feedback when you click or double click. The other big difference is I was only able to get around 7+ hours of battery life with the LG Gram Style 16 versus the 10+ hours that I could get with the usual LG Gram. So maybe this higher resolution OLED display with 120Hz refresh rate is drawing more power. Between the LG Gram Style versus the usual LG Gram, as a price-conscious consumer, I would personally go with the usual LG Gram because the IPS LCD on the usual LG Gram still look terrific. Now this OLED display has better contrast, but a good LCD display can also look great. And I get more ports and longer battery life. So the main selling point with the LG Gram Style really comes down to the style. General performance of this laptop is smooth and fast. It's quick to start, restart. There are no issues with multitasking. This is not a gaming laptop, so don't expect to play demanding games on this laptop. And if your work revolves around editing videos, I would recommend you get a more powerful laptop. This LG Gram Style is just powerful enough for 1080p video editing. So that's the bottom line and pretty much all the important things you need to know about the LG Gram Style versus the usual LG Gram. Oh, one last thing. Obviously, the main selling point of the LG Gram laptops is how lightweight they are, how compact and portable they are. So this 16-inch laptop is 1.23 kg. The usual LG Gram 16 is 1.19 kg. I have this M1 MacBook Air 13. This is 1.29 kg. So this laptop with a smaller display is heavier compared to the LG Gram Style 16. And the M2 MacBook Air 13 is 1.24 kg, and that is 10 grams heavier compared to this. And the M2 MacBook Air 15 is 1.51 kg, which is noticeably heavier compared to the LG Gram Style and the usual LG Gram. The MacBook Air will have its own pros and cons, but if you are just comparing the weight, this is so light that it's quite unbelievable at times. Alright, on to the full review where I talk about the nitty-gritty stuff. Let's start with the things included in the box first. There's the user manual, warranty info in the box, including this power cable and a 65-watt USB-C charger. Since the laptop supports USB-C charging, you can use any GAN charger that you might have as long as it provides enough power. Design of this laptop is beautiful, and this design is definitely more eye-catching compared to the black LG Gram. I read somewhere that they are using glass for the top here, but I have no idea how they actually achieve this pearlescent look. And you can see the colors will change depending on the angle, and also with my reflections on the surface, you can see that pearlescent look as well. And this is the same glass top that is used here for the touchpad. All the corners are rounded off and the edges are beveled, and the glass is actually sitting inside the frame, not on top of the frame. This lid can be opened with one hand, and the hinge is looser than I expected. So if you lift the laptop up like this, sometimes the display can move down. I cannot remember how tight or loose the hinge is on the normal LG Gram, so this is probably something LG can improve. In order to make the laptops light, LG Gram uses this magnesium alloy, which has some flex to it. The material is very lightweight, but there is definitely some flex. When you lift the LG Gram, which is very easy to lift because there are curved sides below for your fingers, you will notice there is slight flex here at the corner, so this will curve down slightly. But when you put this back down, this will become straight again. So that's how flexible the magnesium alloy material is. I used to have the LG Gram 16 and I definitely do not have any issues with the durability. So that's the compromise when it comes to using this lightweight material to make this laptop so light. So as I put the laptop down, you can see the display wobbles quite a bit and many reviewers complain about that. But look, it's not going to wobble forever. The back is matte textured and the screws are hidden behind the feet and the covers. There are two downward facing speakers. This is a 3-watt speaker with Dolby Atmos. The audio quality is good. This is loud, clear enough, and there is good surround. However, this is downward facing, so it's not going to sound as good compared to forward facing speakers. I did not open the back, but from what I've seen online, there is one empty NVMe slot. So if you want to, you can add another NVMe SSD in the future. The RAM is not user upgradable though. This laptop is quite thin, and on the side here, there are two Thunderbolt 4 ports, a 3.5mm audio jack, and this rubber feet is quite big. It actually leaves the laptop quite high above the table for better ventilation. On the right side, there is one micro SD card slot and a USB-A port with USB 3.2 transfer speeds up to 350 megabytes per second. And you have to push down this cover in order to use this port, which I find quite inconvenient. And there is no Kensington lock, which I thought all laptops would have. When I need to use the USB-A port, I have to lift the laptop up like this, push down the cover in order to use my USB-A device or connect a USB-A cable. Let's talk about this beautiful OLED display. So there is a camera at the top, which can be used for face unlock, and the LG glance feature, which I'll talk more about later. So this OLED display has 100% DCI-P3 coverage and up to 400 nits brightness. My color calibrator doesn't work with OLED displays, so I can't tell you the actual color accuracy of the display, but it's an OLED display, so it's probably going to meet those advertised specs easily. This OLED display actually supports 10-bit color depth, but it's not enabled by default, so you have to go into the app Intel Graphics Command Center and enable it yourself. You may also want to disable panel self-refresh and display power savings because these two can affect visual experience negatively. And under Windows settings, you may also want to disable help improve battery by optimizing the content shown and brightness. That's the content adaptive brightness control, which can make, for example, white web pages brighter and darker web pages or background darker. And the shift between the bright and the dark is very distracting. And the last thing you may need to do in order to get the best colors out from this display is to go into LG Smart Assistant under current display color temperature and set your own color temperature. I set this to default, and there is an additional setting here called professional mode, which will apply the ICC profile to give you the expanded color range. I find that I don't need to use this, so I don't have this enabled. Anyway, the colors on the display look great out of the box, so if you are not into graphic design, you don't have to care about all of those things I've just mentioned. Resolution is 3002 by 2000, so pixelation is not noticeable from 1 arm's distance away. This is a vibrant, bright display with sharp visuals, and because this is an OLED display, you will get true HDR effect. And the refresh rate is up to 120 Hz. The aspect ratio is 16 by 10, which I like because this is better than 16 by 9 when it comes to work. This 16-inch display is big, and this is very satisfying to use when it comes to doing graphic design work. I can have palettes by the side and still get this huge canvas space to work with. And the only thing better than this display is a 17-inch display. As mentioned earlier, this OLED display has anti-reflective coating, which is quite effective, and that's how the anti-reflective or anti-glare looks. And this is not a touchscreen, so it doesn't support any finger gestures. I actually don't have any preference between OLED versus LCD displays for graphic design work because a good LCD display can still look terrific. The advantage of the OLED is it has better contrast. This is a standard size keyboard except for the number pad, which is using a 3-column design instead of the usual 4-column design. This number pad will take some time to get used to because the plus minus keys are up here instead of by the side. The enter key is half the height, the 0 key is half the width. The number lock is here on the right side instead of on the left side, and that's the power button, which used to have a fingerprint sensor, but now it does not. The typing experience is good. The keys are well spaced apart. They have good travel and feedback. The keys are backlit. This touchpad and the palm rest area is big, and if there are any fingerprint smudges, they are very easy to wipe off. Same applies to the top. So there is no physical boundary for the touchpad, but when you have your finger on it, you will see the lights light up on the sides. These 2 vertical strips of light cannot be turned off as far as I know. So this is a big touchpad. It's accurate, sensitive, and responsive, and it uses haptic feedback for clicks. I definitely prefer this touchpad over the physical touchpad because when you press on this touchpad, it doesn't sink in like the physical touchpad. And this touchpad also supports finger gestures. Let's talk about performance. So this review unit comes with the Intel Core i7 1360p processor, which draws 28 watts of power, and this has 16 gigs of RAM. So the overall performance is pretty smooth, responsive for office type work, for graphic design, and I use this to edit all the photos that I use for the text review, and everything feels very snappy, very responsive. So I don't have any issues with the performance and also with multitasking. However, when it comes to exporting photos, this software, Adobe Lightroom, will slow down. When you're exporting photos in the background, you can continue to browse the web. There is no noticeable lag. It's just that Adobe Lightroom will slow down. But the thing is, the photo exports will complete pretty quickly, so the system will go back to being very responsive. During the first week when I had the LG Gram Style 16, the fans were spinning at full speed for 1 whole week due to all those Windows updates, and now the system has stabilized. So now whenever I work on this laptop, I don't really hear the fans because the fans are just spinning at normal speed. The fans don't rev up when I'm doing graphic design work or editing photos. The fans will only rev up and be audible when Windows or Adobe Cloud is updating in the background, or when I'm exporting photos or videos in the background. Let's see how much time it takes for this laptop to import 4K videos and generate thumbnails for them. So it's taking its time. Now, if your work revolves around editing videos, this is not a laptop I would recommend. I would recommend you get a laptop that has a processor from the H series, which draws 45 watts of power, and that is going to be noticeably more powerful compared to the P series processor that only draws 28 watts of power. So this laptop for me is good for office type work. It's good and powerful enough for graphic design work, but not really for video editing. Alright, the thumbnails are appearing. If you want to, you can certainly edit videos on this laptop, but after a while, the system will start to slow down, and I think it's slowing down right now. Yep, I can't even move the cursor, or the cursor is moving really slowly. Let me just show the timeline again. Yeah, it's kind of difficult to move the cursor around right now. Okay, let me just drag the pointer around. The viewer will update, but not instantly. And when I zoom in and out, yeah, it's not that responsive. Editing 4K videos is way more taxing compared to editing 1080p videos. So in summary, this is not a video editing laptop. This is also not a gaming laptop, so you will have to manage your expectations. And by managing your expectations, I mean, you may have to drop the resolution down to 720p in order to get smoother gameplay. So right now I'm playing this game Hades at 1920 by 1200 resolution, and I'm able to get 60 FPS. If I drop the resolution down to 720, I can get 100 over FPS. So this is not a very taxing game. If you're playing games like Red Dead Redemption, God of War, or very graphics intensive games, you can be sure the frame rates will be quite low. Low as in 30 FPS or lower. I'm using this app called Pure Battery to keep track of the battery life, and the battery life for this laptop is about 7+ hours. So the LG Gram style has lower battery life compared to the usual LG Gram, which has 10-11 hours of battery life. In the Windows world, 10 hours of battery life is considered amazing and 7 hours is considered average. And now let's look at the software features LG has included. So this is the LG Smart Assistant, which allows you to control different aspects of the laptop. So here you can choose the different color modes. You can choose dark mode or light mode. You can choose to lock the function key, extend battery life, will limit battery charging to 80%. Instant rebooting is great. This allows you to shut down your computer, and the next time you open the lid, it's going to boot instantly, like almost instantly. This is so useful. And you can disable or enable the touchpad, and of course that's the color temperature control, and you can adjust the fan speed to whichever fan speed you like. The next software LG has included is LG Glance, which will use the camera to detect your presence for certain actions. So if it detects that you are not around, it can blur the screen, it can lock the screen, or it can make your laptop go to sleep. And right now I have this external display connected. So if I look to the main display, you can see the cursor is here. If I look left to the secondary display, the cursor will automatically switch over, and I can look here again. So this is quite effective instead of just moving your cursor from left to right, which you can of course do as well. The other thing is you can look at this window, click and hold, and look at the external display, and the window will move automatically over. So this is quite effective as well. This is a shortcut. LG Glance has many features, and many of them are privacy features such as smart display. So when you enable this and you're not looking at this display, for example, it's going to blur out the content here. Or if the camera or the laptop detects another person looking at your display, it can also blur out the display. So that is quite impressive. LG Glance software does not use much resource, so you can keep it in the background, or if you don't use this, you can have it not launch during startup. Right, to conclude, the LG Gram laptops are for people who want the lightest laptop that they can find. I'm not sure if this is the lightest laptop out there right now, but this is definitely one of the lightest laptops around. For performance, I would say this laptop is good for office workers, for students, for non-gaming work. This is not a gaming laptop, obviously, because this does not have a discrete graphics card. This is really for people who want either the lightest laptop possible or a laptop with a big screen, but you don't want that weight to go along with that big screen. Between the LG Gram style versus the standard LG Grams, the black LG Grams, I would prefer the standard LG Grams because I really like that extra HDMI port here on the left side and the extra USB-A port here on the right side. And I do appreciate the extra 3 hours of battery life you get with the standard LG Gram. So this LG Gram style is really for those who want more style, I guess. It's a beautiful laptop, that's for sure. This is definitely going to grab some attention if you're using this outdoors. I think I've pretty much covered everything I wanted to say. So if you have other questions regarding the LG Gram, let me know in the comment section below. And if you are interested to get one for yourself, you can check out the purchase links that I have for you in the video description. See you guys in the next video. Bye!